thing, we already have different bans though, right? We get the Kanavi special ban of the Nidalee. Tahm Kench comes through in a very new form. This time around, we are at least swapping priority picks with Viego banned and Gwen first pick.
Yeah, and that was the big one for Viego. Obviously, JDG saying, hey, look, we cannot play this kind of slow build jungler right now. There's just too much action coming through from FPX. So instead, they will have the Gwen. That's still late game insurance for JDG, but they will now be able to go towards a more aggressive early game jungler. Although, with that Olaf picked up and the Xin Xiao banned away, you're missing a lot of things that can actually go toe-to-toe against the early aggression that Tian can bring with the Viking.
Well, AD carry in the bottom lane is what I want to talk about, though, because Varus let through this time around, so JDG put it on to Loken. Means we are going to have a very different bottom lane, right? We've already got the Aphelios. I wonder if JDG just still Thresh.
And this is actually one of Loken's best champions. He has a 100% win rate on this champion so far in the LPL. And it's now been picked up once again. Great with the poke. It really feels like Loken and LvMao understand the power spikes on this champion as well. They end up picking up dual lane kills pretty often whenever we see this pick. So we're going to have to keep our eyes on this bottom lane. Looks like we're not going to get any sort of aggressive pick in that support role just yet. Trundle locked in, whereas on the opposite side for FPX, it's going to be the Thresh just to pair with this Aphelios.
Yeah, not taken away by JDG. Kanavi piloting his 12th unique jungle champion as well, folks, just to note. He's even pulled out things like the Shaco, the Kha'Zix a couple of times, the Graves we've seen from him. So showing us the Trundle is just another version that we know of Kanavi. Even despite the losses, even despite the criticism, you know, Kanavi is still part of that methodology that has been successful for JDG in the past. Part of the success, I should just plainly say, Dagda.
And we've seen him, kind of, as you said, like go towards these more counter-pick oriented styles, but it hasn't always worked out for him. Although he is still a massive Akari for JDG, has been a little bit lackluster. So I think in this matchup, especially where Tian still has a lot of pressure, I'd be curious to see if Kanavi can maneuver in that matchup. However, we are looking at these bans. Support's being picked away from it by FPX. Yep. I think Leona is going to be the next one here, just to give a little bit more safety here on that bottom side. Actually, no, not entirely sure where this... That's a weird one, the Lee Sin. I know we could get the solo lane from Yagao, which is what I'm assuming they're thinking, but Yagao traditionally has been more of a kind of control mage, but either way for JDG, banning away the Orianna, more than likely looking towards one of Doinb's more stranger picks like the Kled or something like this in the mid lane, just to give a bit of safety there for Yagao.
Think about Silas as well, right? That could be the option to ban away.
True.
But it's top lane in the end. Get rid of a Gwen counter that a lot of people have been talking about in solo queue and competitive alike. For the side of FPX, this is starting to look like a good team fighting comp, Dagda. If this gets logged in, which it does.
This is an insanely strong pick for Nuguri. If you look at the gold difference he has at 15 on every champion so far, his highest by far is Gnar. It's only been 2 games, but it's been really successful, and it fits into that style again of ranged matchup for the Gwen that she struggles to actually close the gap onto. On the upside though, JDG, Yagao hovering this Zoe once more. Again, you can go back towards his poke style if you want to, but one of the things I've seen from JDG in most recent series, when they go towards this poke, it hasn't quite been that strong. That picture is amazing.
That was Yagao next to Yagao was Zoe and Doinb was just laughing. I mean, we might get that this time, right? Because the Zoe is being put in blind against Doinb.
I'm not the biggest fan of the way JDG are going with this composition. I feel like you really need some big, beefy frontline here to try and absorb a lot of this damage. The biggest problem that we've seen is like Trundle Pillar is not going to... Okay, so Trundle support.
Trundle support.
I haven't seen that for a while. But...
Well, hang on.
So the reason...
Yeah. Hang on.
Okay,
but
go on ahead.
Who's in jungle then? You know?
I think it's Gwen jungle.
Okay. Okay, sorry, go on.
So I think the composition from JDG, top Renekton, jungle Gwen, Yagao on the Zoe in the mid, and then you get this Trundle support. Now, the reason we saw Trundle start to fall off was that the pillar cooldown went up, which meant that his main kind of tool for that support role had fallen off. And now to be going towards the kasssadin is going to be able to bypass so much of this. You don't have any hard CC apart from this Renekton and a bubble on JDG side. Chains of Corruption there to help a little bit. But when you've got Tian who can ignore that, Nuguri who can jump over, Doinb who can come in as well, JDG don't have enough tools to disengage from FPX. And this is what I was trying to get at when I was saying you need some kind of beefcake in the front line, because you need someone who's going to be able to tank a lot of the engage from FPX. And right now, there just isn't really that tool on JDG.
It feels like Doinb pulling out his 14th unique champion in this split as well is a nice little sign, right? This is a champion he picked up his first ever pentakill on. Dagda, I'm going to try and correct myself. I believe it was 2020 that we saw the first pentakill for Doinb come out. If not, it was definitely the last split. But point being, there's a champion who's really favored in the past year or so. So we get the kasssadin, we get some scaling, and it looks like it's as simple as team fighting, scale on one side, and building tempo on the other.
Yeah, and I want to see what we get from JDG early here, because my biggest gripe that I've had with JDG is when we get Kanavi onto these our late game scaling junglers, like we saw in Viego in game number 1, we're seeing with Gwen in game number 2. He just doesn't have the impact towards the lanes to actually set up JDG for a reasonably strong mid game. And when you're on this Gwen, where do you try to play around? Like, Yagao's not really going to be able to set you up particularly well. You've got a fairly lackluster bot lane to try and play around too. You feel like you're out of options here as Kanavi to actually get these early leads.
LvMao has Halo Blades. Dagda, that Trundle. Do you remember, was it Hillisang? Was it Hillis? It was Hilly, wasn't it? I'm pretty, or maybe it was Mickey, who was the split pushing Trundle support.
Yeah.
That forever will apparently be partially ingrained into my brain as we get into game 2. JDG was smacked left and right in game 1. In under 25 minutes, FPX dissected them and pulled apart the victory. Now in game 2, Dagda, there's a kasssadin, there's scaling, there's team fighting, and we're going to see if JDG can pull this game off the ground with the Gwen jungle running Ghost.
Well, so far, JDG, we're seeing a lot of aggression in that bot lane. As you said, double Halo Blades means you can trade reasonably well. The only issue is LvMao now has a choice in how he wants to use this pillar. You can either use it, 1, to try and lock up Lwx and gives Loken a little bit of freedom towards the chains of corruption or to close the gap, or 2, you have to try and use it to interrupt the dark passage. But it feels like it's a lose-lose either way, because either way, Lwx should be able to escape. Now, Lwx doesn't realize he's on a ward.
And that's good, Dagda. It's a Halo Blades, Trundle, and a Varus. They're in deep doo-doo as LvMao starts running in straight for the 80 carry. Great plays, Ignite goes down, but it is a Trundle in support. It's over the wall, trying to bring it out. First blood, the Guardian gives first blood, but it is over to Crisp.
Crisp just managed to pick it up, whereas it went towards Loken on the opposite side. Plus, this wave now for Loken to take. So good start for JDG, and LvMao giving his life to make sure that Loken can't be set up for success.
That looks like a strong play in the playbook. Try and get level 1 with double Halo Blades lane. I love it. Great start already. 2 kills in 2 minutes, and as the 80 carry from FPX walks to lane, another great point, Dagda. Loken gets to stay. He'll hit level 2. The Varus picks up CS, and so it is 6-0 to kick us off.
Now, FPX here, the fact that you're starting to fall behind the bot lane can actually be a bit of an issue, because we said, hey, look, if Loken can get to level 6, maybe he can make some plays towards Lwx. Now, Lwx still has Flash, still has Cleanse, still should be relatively safe, so maybe not looking too much towards an early play, a level 6 play, but certainly could look for some sort of dive with LvMao being able to tank up this turret.
I am just curious to watch him. Summoners on the bottom of your screen there, or excuse me, rune choice rather. As LvMao waiting for those pillars as well. He's now just hit level 2 and Loken continues to push in. While we didn't get to talk about this too much, a nice exhaust coming out. Yagao picked that up off the ground. But we are going to start putting the clock on the screen. Level 3 out of 16, folks. You know how it works. And how Doinb needs to play through time in this game and the best possible laning phase.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of time across the board here for FPX to try to buy. Aphelios come online, kasssadin come online. Like, these are the 2 big carries that you want here for FPX. I mean, Tian, Nuguri, they're just going to provide the front line of the CC to enable these guys more than anything else. So if FPX get to the late game, that's phenomenal, which is why I'm looking at JDG here. And when you've got this lead for Loken and LvMao, Kanavi can try to look for invades on bottom side or go for dives, but he's eyeing up top lane right now.
But Nuguri has Hop as well, remember, so there is a lot of escapability that he can use, depending on how Zoom gets Cole the Meek, adaptation, as the wave's starting to build in. Look at where Tian is, Dagda, nowhere nearby for now.
Yeah, Doinb, though, could look to TP up here, has a little bit of mana, so they still need to be safe. Yagao's completely out of his own mana.
Will he get his Mega Narbar in time? Kanavi just walking up to try and get some turret plating. Boomerang Blade slows it down. Tian is now walking up. This is an Olaf, remember, and it's always going to be great in some of these skirmishes. Hop forward, but no slow, and Nuguri picks up the rest of the wave while losing a couple.
Yeah, you can see Yagao started to roam towards that top side to try to help out a potential play, whereas Doinb went for the reset, had a full health bar and mana, and then was looking to go for the teleport into top lane. So JDG rightfully back away, but do at least get some advantages for Zoom in the XP department and also that CS department.
Just remember though, Ghost was burnt by Kanavi as he walked up for the potential gank in top side, so someone that will be down, but we all know not the same timer as Flash, of course. And Doinb close to hitting level 6 in the mid lane. Now, Dagda, biggest thing for me right now is looking at where junglers go next, because there's some good warding here from JDG, spotting out Tian as he clears away Raptors. He's back towards the top side, so Zoom has to be careful in how he trades. As I say that, he's just slashed into Nuguri and had a pretty good time.
Ooh, okay, there's the Trundle pillar down, but you can see there what we're talking about. Dark Passage means that LwX is totally fine whenever LvMao tries to use that. So for me, I want to go back to your question. JDG, I want to see plays on this bottom side. Yep. You have priority mid with Yagao, you have priority with Loken and LvMao thanks to that early play at level 1. So start to use this. Have invades on towards the bottom side of the map. Look towards these early dragons. Look for roams with Yagao to set up dives in the bottom lane, especially if you're positioned underneath that tower. A Trundle pillar can cause so many issues in cutting off escape routes for the likes of LwX.
I also want to point out that if you time it perfectly, like absolutely perfectly, middle of Dark Passage as you take it, you can pillar. And you can actually stop the Dark Passage, Dagda. So I want to see if LvMao's good enough this game to pull off that interaction coming through. But I do like that you talk about the Dark Passage being the main safety net down there. And you wanted to see Kanavi bot. Well, at the moment, he's done his clear, heading back. It looks like a couple of topside camps to spawn. And pings are coming down for assistance. Zoom has TP as well, so for the meantime, it feels like JDG is sticking to what the script has always been, which is play towards Zoom's lane.
Yeah, the problem is, though, like, this isn't going to net them a huge amount, right? This Renekton is going to be nice. He'll be a bit of a beefcake, but he's not really going to hard carry lane against Nuguri. Nuguri clears the wave. Doinb will still get to a point where he's relevant, but JDG, they're full committing here.
And there's a ward that's going to spot out only Kanavi. Nuguri doesn't know that there's 4 until now. 1 versus 4. He is Mega Gnar with the ulti available. Pillar against the wall. Waiting for everyone from JDG. Doesn't get the stun. Back up against the turret. LvMao's tanking for now, but that aggro is going to change as Nuguri flashes away. Yagao helps Kanavi pick up the kill. As this time around, it's blood for blood. Getting the revenge in game 2.
They're still getting advantages, at least for JDG, and Kanavi getting that kill is a pretty nice win for them. A lot invested on towards that top side though, so Yagao loses waves mid. They lose 2 turret plates bot, and when you're looking at that, I mean, the gold difference is still going to kind of even out apart from the three plates that JDG have picked up in top side.
But Dagda, there's going to be 2 plates in the bottom side as TP comes up, and if the kill comes down, then JDG are in serious trouble as Tian has Ragnarok and so much damage. There's no needlework available, so Kanavi's just dead. Dominus was using the previous play, and Zoom joins the deathbed. 2 kills, 3 plates, Dagda, it definitely spiraled backwards.
And JDG just stuck around too long. FPX get that reset, TP top, Doinb even starting to make that roam up, and there was just nowhere for it, JDG to go.
Dagda, that's rough. That's real rough when we saw a really proactive play out of JDG. Now, Yagao's dropped the ignite, but Doinb should just be able to back away. Has the little rift limp, so at this point in the game can get back to lane pretty easily, even without the TP. But we have a jungler now with a kill and a CS lead here in the Olaf. Bottom lane got plating as well, despite being down in CS. That's 2 bits of plating. So we're just going to look again as how FPX set this up.
Yeah, TP onto that ward. FPX called them all the way. Even Doinb having pressure mid, you can see he's starting to roam up. So even if Zoom managed to somehow escape away from this, he was dead, which is why he hard commits forward rather than trying to escape. There was just no way to get out of that. And as you said now, FPX, although the kills have been going JDG's way, they're 1 kill up, they're ahead when it comes towards the gold. And that advantage that we got for Loken in the early stages is completely gone. He hasn't been able to stick around in these lanes. Okay. And there you go, Dark Passage to safety from that combo from the AD carry and support from JDG.
Need to block it as the animation's there. LwX manages to get out thanks to Crisp once again, and that was Chains of Corruption used by Loken too. So bottom lane continues to be a nice bit of walk in the park for LwX. As he started to catch up on CS, he's close to that next bit of plating. LvMao gets hooked in, and remember this Aphelios all shurikened up. Ignite goes down, the ulti as well onto LvMao. You've just given so many Ninja Gaiden stars over to LwX.
Doinb.
And Doinb's walking down onto Loken. They know no ultimates available, but he continues to zone them off.
And that's the important part here, is just zoning them away, keeping them out of XP range, keeping them away from the turret. And again, Lwx is benefiting so much, I should say, from everything that's going on with FPX. Now, JDG will turn this over for Rift Herald in favor of the Dragon. This needs to get in towards the bottom side of the map. They'll probably end up using it top just because Zoom has already cleared out a couple of those plates. But it really does feel like you're running away with the gold going to the wrong places as...
Oh, come on. Lwx caught out. Hail of Arrows is there, and there's a pillar. He has to burn a flash, and that's just sloppy. Dying here would be horrible as Loken flashes forward. Dark Passage from Crisp. Once again, he flashes for that to save his AD carry. Not really a good look while Nuguri's too far forward. The needlework as well. He's about to go into Mega Gnar, but he's already dead. Pops him as he dies as the re-engage. Doinb's now down here as well, and this kill over to the Kassadin. The clock just got thicker.
Messy plays across the board. Laziness from Lwx on the recall burns both the flash on the AD carry in support of FPX, whereas topside, Kanavi and Zoom get the kill. Now Tian's
Oh my god, he can 1v2 this Dagda. He can 1v2 with Ragnarok and healing up as well. Inside the circle of Kanavi, he runs for the new target and straight away, regretting that JDG were up here. They get first heart blood Dagda, but FPX are always trading back.
Tian's just been on cleanup duty every time a play is made topside. Now, turret does go down, so Zoom pretty large when it comes towards this top lane matchup. You can even see it when it comes to that gold lead, the level advantage, but FPX want to continue making plays bot side.
Dagda was just told, Doinb just picked up his 2000th kill as well, if I'm not mistaken, as he's going for 2001. Onto Loken, bit of return damage at the end. Can't underestimate the Varus as Crisp helps him clear out the minion wave, but gold's dead even, that's right. We've got a Dragon coming up in 3 minutes 20. The game is pacing along in favor of FPX. And guys, just remember what we talked about. We said for JDG, it's about tempo. It's about getting this poke off the board, you know. First, second item at least. FPX are always matching blow for blow.
Yeah, I mean, this is where we get LvMao just taking the wrong way around, didn't realize that Doinb was in the back line, so able to just hop himself over the wall and pick up that kill. Topside, Tian is on cleanup duty once again, and it's always, as you said, Hysterics answering tit for tat in this, and it means that when the late game scaling on FPX is still going even, it's in good space. The only issue, actually I'm going to hold on to this point.
Yeah, because Tian's diving this one, Ragnarok's back up and available, and this is a flash Olaf. Chain's Corruption not there, Subjugate is, but LvMao just trying to defend while Lwx wants the turret for himself. Kanavi, how does he influence this when he's cornered out, sandwiched by Doinb on the Kassadin, and Tian going deeper. At this point, one turret plating left available, and Lwx is getting the same resources as he did in game one.
Yeah, Doinb even wandering down, just making sure that he's going to be there for first if Yagao tries to TP. So JDG, they have to forego this. And my point that I was about to make before this kind of back and forth was, you've got the top lane terror for Zoom. Now let's start moving Zoom around the map and making some of these plays happen. But you don't see the TP coming through from Zoom to try and save that bot lane turret. You don't get JDG trying to make these proactive plays off of their strong side of the map. So again, FPX are picking up these plays without JDG really answering.
Big moment here for FPX in this series. We've been talking about them being the best team in the LPL, and with JDG trying to fire back, FPX always finding something. This just goes to show you, the proof again is in the pudding, as Kanavi is towards the top side. He's running into an Olaf. Lwx is here. Now it's Gwen, and she's immune with a huge Keck W, but that play was, okay, what's bigger? A Megalol. That was not good at all.
I think we need to even go a little bit higher, because honestly, that was just bad from Kanavi. Yeah. Pops himself over the blast cone, trying to see if he can work with Zoom, but FPX have already reset. You have no idea where their bottom lane is, and especially after FPX just took the bottom turret, chances are they're going to be somewhere in topside jungle. Now Lwx will plonk himself down in the mid lane. Doinb is off in a side lane. You're going to get this 1-3-1 from FPX, which makes it really difficult now for JDG to actually find these opportunities to move mid, collapse onto structures, as Nuguri is even stealing away Kanavi's jungle.
You know, it's a far way. It's like, you know, having Joffrey as king. It's a far way down here for JDG as Kanavi now bursting Nuguri, but this Gnar has his ulti up and available, slams him in the wall, solo kills right in front of Zoom's face, another house on top of that one. Look at the mortgage. Zoom can't deal with it as Tian comes on in. A good pillar, but the subjugate isn't enough with Lwx over the wall. They're low but not dead. until a good piercing arrow from Loken. A trade at the end, but you lost 2 there from JDG.
And 1 on FPX. Now, it is the jungler, so you're going to get a slow... Well, I was going to say slow down on towards the dragon, but they don't care. Kanavi is not going to be here in time, so FPX pick up a second dragon for themselves. More kills, more pressure on the map. And right now, it's across the board. Like, everyone in FPX is ahead because of these early kills. Even though we got Zoom having this early pressure, he's still behind Nuguri as we coast the 15 minute marks.
It's a CS lead of 10. Nuguri's going to be able to farm this out, heal up from Divine Sunderer. And FPX now with double dragon for the scaling comp, also having 1,500 gold. It's just great. That was a fake flash, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, as Nuguri wanted this 1v1. I just love the swag from the Raccoon man.
And this is one of the reasons why Nuguri is so obnoxious to play against. So many times we see him end up getting these early leads, and instead of just sitting in lane, trying to farm back and forth, he'll go into the enemy jungle, set up plays, pick away these camps, and it means that you're not only putting the jungler behind, but you're actively creating more advantages for your team. Now JDG trying to group around mid.
But what do you do here, Dagda? Because Dragon's up in 4 minutes. This is about the Herald play up towards the top side. JDG going to start this, but this Olaf is a big cause of concern.
I think they just shoved mid. I don't even think FPX care about this, although they are starting to collapse as they get that mid priority.
Well, Doinb's level 11 again, ladies and gentlemen. The clock needs to be raised here, as this is going to be a fight. Doinb's into the back line. Everfrost doesn't connect, but slows him down. Chains of Corruption into Ragnarok. It's stolen away. Doinb can pick that up, and he does so as he flashes straight after. FPX already taken the objective. They've got a Moonlight Vigil as well as Zoom is separated, but this fight for JDG, it's early game. You need to be careful. Doinb on the runner's box, zones him down. Nuguri as well. Can't get in for that angle of the Mega Gnar ulti. FPX now running. They lost 1. They wanted the fight, and it's at the cost of the Herald.
Greedy from FPX. They'd managed to escape. They didn't need to take the fight. They'd gotten everything. Mid lane turret, the Rift Herald. They had the escape plan, but unfortunately they went back to just pick up that last little bit, and it cost them. Still though, FPX coming out with a gold lead, especially when they're able to move this Rift Herald around. You see Doinb already taking that up towards the top side. It feels like it's just going to take that last outer turret for JDG and letting FPX get control once more of the JDG jungle.
And something that never gets talked about is the quick back that you get from the Herald like you would a Baron buff. Something we can mention after the replay.
Yeah, you can see here, right? Tian gets in, gets the shot onto the eye, which means it bursts out the Rift Herald. But at this stage, just back off, right? There's no need to try and follow up on this. And Nuguri not really in a position to get that big Mega Gnar, so he's kind of not, well, I don't want to say useless, but he's not getting a huge amount done in this fight. Lwx as well is trying to play catch up. The range there for FPX, just not quite able to match JDG in that scenario.
Now for FPX, again, you talked about what they're going to do with the Herald. It wasn't used in the top side while we're in the replay. Doinb just backed with it. And I want to note that he only picked up an amplifying tome, but it is still a one-item Kassadin. Kassadin who is about to get level 12 as well. And with Nuguri in the side lane, FPX have the game under control. Look at the line of vision. It's literally a straight line all the way from the Herald pit down to the bush in front of Nuguri. It's looking great here for FPX, and losing a turret, good. But for JDG, you're trading once again.
Yeah, because Doinb's going to take this, may even be able to push on towards that second tower, though JDG start to collapse. Tian will spot them.
And Tian's strong, remember, as well. So as he takes the Scuttle Crab, JDG know they can't fight, and they just back away. Doinb clears the wave in an instant. This should get close to a bit of a trade, but never mind. JDG are here to stop the Herald from charging the inner. Still, Doinb gets the solo turret gold.
But look at where the lanes are positioned, right? Nuguri clearing out bot, you've committed 2-3 members topside to stop the push from Doinb. Like, this is the way FPX operate. Consistently creating areas of pressure that you have to send more than one person. And as soon as you end up making that mistake, they'll capitalize elsewhere, they'll start to push in turrets, and they'll use the advantages that they've managed to gain from these early stages. Resets coming through, though. I'm imagining that Doinb's going to be fairly close to that second item if he hasn't picked it up already. Yep. And when he gets both the Everfrost and the Archangel Staff, actually going to stop off for an Oblivion Orb, so a little bit longer before that, but he's going to be monstrous, and he'll be able to finish that off in the next kind of 4 or 5 minutes. When this dragon number 3 is about to spawn, though, he's still going to be a bit behind.
But Dagda, if you talk about items, Renan's Hurricane Immortal Shield Bow versus Manamune. This is a lethality Varus that we know when he hits that second item, when he's able to pick up the Dust Plate or okay, it's LPL, Prowler's Claw that we've still seen. The Aphelios matching, another good sign for FPX. And we've been talking about good signs for FPX because, again, let me drill this into your brain, folks. We talked about the scaling, you know, Kassadin, Aphelios, what the team fighting can do here. FPX already have the first two dragons as well, Dagda. Even though it looks like they want to contest, they have a Kassadin side lane.
And Zoom is already in this fight, so I wouldn't be surprised the FPX try and run, but Tian's caught.
He's getting whammed. Well, Tian, he has the Ragnarok. Dark Passage used as well. FPX still going in the Moonlight Vigil. They're taking a lot of damage. FPX get the first kill onto Loken, who's missed position. And Lwx is free-firing the two-item Aphelios. Now on top of the Dragon as Doinb's joined on in. The pillar placement great as LvMao has to flash away. Dagda, JDG meant to win this fight.
And they didn't even have a chance. You end up getting flashed on as Loken stuck in the pit. Tian gives his life for Ire to take down Loken. And now FPX, they're pushing in mid. Nuguri's pushing in bot. Doinb wants a blue buff, because why the hell not? They've already picked up everything else, and they're starting to run away again with this game.
I said it before, I'll say it again. Match of the week obviously spelt wrong because this is one-sided once more. A better early game, excuse me, from JDG. It looked like they had plans and had more options, but again, opting in for fights that weren't reasonable. Dagda, the laners being outmatched in certain points of the game as well.
Okay, Crisp might get caught out here. Going to be able to back away as he gets a warning bubble over the wall just to let him know that he needs to get out of there. But now, look, Nuguri, side lane, he's going to push. Kasssadin side lane, he's going to push. And you can see from this fight here, like, I loved the way Tian played this, right? Pops the Ragnarok, gets away from the slow that Trundle puts down. But Loken's stuck in the pit here. Oh. And the second Loken separated, flash in from Tian, destroys them. They then turn over towards Kanavi, who's stuck in here as well. He doesn't have the Hollowed Mist. And the whole time, Nuguri is running amok. He's already managed to get the Mega Gnar to both Yagao and Zoom to keep them away from the vulnerable backline. FPX played that fight beautifully.
And now they're looking for another one, right? Doinb running into it. You can see the damage, but no time for that. Look at the flank from Nuguri. About to go Mega Gnar. Tian forcing into it. Loken's dead again. A huge lull this time around as Doinb and Nuguri are into the backline. It's wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. FPX is 21 minutes in the game, and it looks absolutely doomed for JDG yet again.
And you can see exactly why I wanted a front line for JDG's comp as Zoom is going to fall, because Zoom isn't strong enough. And when you don't have someone who can just stop FPX running on you, it looks like this.
Trouble bubble comes through. The paddle star at max range. Has Doinb bitten off too much? No! It's a Kassadin at level 4! Put the clock down! It's time to Baron.
And the Baron is going to be just the cherry on top for FPX. They're winning the fights. They're getting the dragons. They're getting the Rift Arrows, they're getting the Barons, and this looks inevitably like it's going to be a 2-0 victory for FPX.
To correct myself, level 14, not level 4, Kassadin. That'd be a bit insane, but we'll watch this again, Dagda, because I just love the confidence this early in the game again.
But this is why I wanted a front line. I wanted someone who could actually stand in front of them. Zoom isn't here, and you can see Tian, he just runs at them. Shirley's Reverie to speed him up, and who stops him? And even when Zoom eventually gets here, he's too deep. He's not actually able to play that front line, and FPX fall apart. And it's unfortunate here that when FPX get the steam rolling, there's no stopping them.
Nuguri might be caught out. This could be good for JDG. No ultimate available. He used it in this little transaction, and the kill goes over to LvMao, unfortunately, with the subjugate. But a kill's a kill. When Baron goes over to FPX, that might slow things down. Dagda, am I full of baloney or not?
I mean, it's a one key trade in the towers for another trade, but actually 2 trades here for FPX. So that's what I'm more focused on here, because you get the not even get the tier 1 bot, and FPX have just given themselves the opportunity to start playing towards your inhibitor turrets, and especially when Doinb's playing so strong in the side lane, the 4-0 Kassadin, who tries to stop him. We're going to get a picture-in-picture, though, of our little replay of what happened to Nuguri.
Yeah, TP burnt there as well. Just trying to force it hard. JDG know this game is just so far from favor as LvMao with the pillar, but it's the wrong side he gets popped to. Aiming for Lwx as he was left by his team, but there's only one pick that comes through, and it's only Nuguri. After what we saw, Baron's going to expire in a minute 30, Dagda, and FPX are now grouping up towards bottom lane, or should I say, it's Doinb side laning here as the 4-0-3 Kassadin.
I think this is only going to be for the moment, though. I imagine Doinb will shove this wave, start to rotate to mid. and then across into top as well, because you really want to play this spread out as FPX, especially as Doinb's teleport is just about to come up.
He's got Zodge's hourglass. I love it. He's facing 4 people from JDG. He actually just went in. What a madman. Sleepy Trollball. Remember, he has Zhonya's. Doesn't have flash available. That was kind of wild. As Nuguri's on the back end with a Mega Gnar available. Doinb almost has TP as he dodges away from the trouble bubble. Wants to back and make an attempt to return. Oh my god! Oh, it's a massacre! A double kill straight off the bat, and JDG are getting the full brunt of the law here. As FPX, they've only lost 1. Dagda, what the hell just happened as Loken's hit into the wall, and for his 3rd death, gets absolutely smashed down by a dinosaur.
LWX is on fire, and I mean that literally. That Inferno Moonlight Vigil just tore apart JDG. When you get that collector, the AoE splash damage ripping apart the low health members of JDG, and now Doinb, cool, calm, collected, will get the Nexus. Or not the Nexus. Why did you say Nexus for inhibitor traits? That's like the 4th time today.
Oh, it's alright. I mean, I don't think Doinb was really part of the fight. That was so nuts. And hey, free Mountain Salt. Thanks so much. Dagda, are you ready for this replay? Because I'm ready to be blown away.
Watch the Moonlight Vigil from LWX. Like, he's getting a good amount of poke off just through the creeps. You can see there, hits Yagao, hits Yagao, flashes forward. There's the Moonlight Vigil straight into the Infernum ultimate as well. That was so well played by LWX, just realizing how strong he is right now and ripping apart JDG.
Doinb now teleports in, like he backed before, so he gets 1 assist for the fight, but the flash from LWX. A lot of people criticize this man, but there are times when LWX has that high ceiling shown, and flashing forward as an AD carry, very LPL-esque. As JDG now met with an uncertain end, Kanavi going on top of the Olaf. That's great, even with Chris getting hurt as well, but LWX is on the wing, poking down Yagao. An instant half HP as the bubble is a little bit short. Kanavi getting burnt down as well by Nuguri. Almost dropping down. For JDG, the fact they lost no one is a miracle.
It's a 4v5 and a miracle at that still. So you can see Doinb pushing in the bottom side, so he's just happy to keep going. He's not going to try and pay attention to the mindless needs of JDG. He's just looking for this inhibitor. But JDG now, after picking off that kill, starting to fall back, starting to try and defend their base.
I love all waves pushing in. Everything leads south here, and yeah, Doinb's just in the middle of it all. He has a blue buff at this point, I believe, as he runs out of mana. He's bursted down, but healing up. He's already used the Zodge's Hourglass. Doinb still dying, though, means that FPX want to somehow go back in. LWX poking them down the Moonlight Vigil again. Look at him blast. Kanavi running in. Before Gwen, there was Aphelios. Bow to your god of 200 years. As JDG, their base in shambles.
And they're just going to look to take the game at 3 versus 4. And LWX is kind of just 1v5ing.
All right, LWX wants to end it here. FPX is meant to be match of the week to make sure JDG doesn't even look at playoffs at this point. FPX have taken down 1 Nexus turret, looking for their own dynasty to resume here in the LPL. Game 1 was a smash. Game number 2 looks the exact same as Chains of Corruption try to keep this game even. They've found the AD carry, and that's great, but JDG have to deal with Tian. An open Nexus, but now that LWX is dead, the game will go on.
Doinb's on the way, though. It's only a matter of time. And even while all this, like, menace and terribleness is going on to JDG, the Mountain Dragon gets picked up in the background. It's 4 stacks of those dragons for FPX right now. The Elder Dragon is going to go across as well, I imagine, in the 3 minutes, because how the hell do you ever leave your base here as JDG? Doinb goes over wall, finishes off the game. Nuguri can come in with that TP as well. You are now stuck, quarantined to your base here as JDG.
Oh no, that's so real, Dagda. I can't believe you just said that. That feels like a lot of people's lives right now. So a lot of empathy, a lot of sympathy coming through from JDG, I'm sure. But FPX in this series, man, showing us that I think they are the best team in the league. In terms of form right now, they look like the best team in the LPL, and this has just been such a good end of split from the FunPlus Phoenixes. Onto Tian, they won't find a pick here. LvMao's trying, but what do? Doinb is on the flank.
Start the Jaws theme song, because he's looking.
All right, he's got the Everfrost as well. They're running on in. The final fight as Loken's the one picked out. Double golden time as Nuguri's over the wall. But look at this. The FunPlus Phoenix dealing with Zoom. He's trying his heart out as the Death Sentence to buy more time for LWX. But Doinb is wreaking havoc back here. It's reset after reset for the level 17 kasssadin, while an open Nexus permits this match of the week to be over. JDG didn't put up a fight because FPX was showing us that they are the best team in the region, ready to move up to first place.
A dominant performance from FPX, dismantling JDG in less than an hour of game time. FPX just knew exactly what they had to do. We saw this early aggression in game number 1, where they took over the game from these early skirmishes. Game number 2, they played the long con. Draw it out, let this kasssadin get rolling, let this Aphelios get to a point where he is monstrous, and there's no stopping them from defeating JDG.
Now they'll be equal first with EDG in terms of series. Remember, game score still favorable for Edward Gaming, but again, I say this with a very strong hand that this team looks like the most powerful. Smiles on the faces as well. Nuguri having a much better game too, but Doinb Dagda, a consistent series again. This carry is online and absolutely recharged. I mean, fly Phoenix fly. What's the theme song for this world? Because if it has a Phoenix in it, I'm sure they'll be there.
I mean, either way, this team looks dominant. It just looks absolutely incredible, and I love watching this team just because they get so much action. It feels like you're always having to pick up the pace of your game just to try and match, not even surpass what FPX are trying to do. And unfortunately for JDG, they just couldn't keep up that pace. And now they find themselves sitting with another loss in that column. And now the best that they can hit is going to be that 8 and 8 spot. Only match the scoreline of the teams that are going to be in 10th place and up, which means there's a very high chance JDG will not be seeing themselves in our playoff spots.
Now, we have to make a couple of announcements here as we round out this series. Of course, with FPX winning and JDG not being able to hit 9, 9 becomes the lucky number in the LPL. And if I'm not mistaken, it means that also, Dagda, we talked about it before, BLG with the 2-0 here should actually be locked in as well. Now, we'll get those full confirmations for you, but FPX, you know, like looking at RA as well with a 9 and 5 scoreline should also be in a very favorable position. We will 100% confirm that for you, ladies and gentlemen. But this series win for FPX means a lot for our top 10 in our standings. It does mean that the number gets lower because JDG Dagda with that team that could hit 9. They were a team on the outskirts here. And now you're just like, well, all right, LGD can only hit 8. JDG can only hit 8. IG can only hit 8. Those 3 teams now in a bit of a travesty.
Yeah, and the big thing is that BLG has the head-to-head over all of them, so they will actually confirm themselves in towards that spot as well. But we got to bring it back towards our game now, as our MVP is going to be LWX for this game, and I think a well-deserved one as well. This guy just was insane.
Yeah, he was.
Absolutely insane.
It was. I think, again, you know, another time where I can highlight Crisp, another great bottom lane game here, but yeah, LWX having 2 solid games, and I love the flashing forward and the ultis we saw out of him all series long.
And I think you said it best, Hysterics. Like, you get to see these moments where the sky is the limit for the ceiling on how high LWX can play. Really playing on the knife's edge and understanding exactly how much damage he can deal in so many of these fights, playing on that knife's edge. And it's a beauty to see, and why we're kind of riding so high on FPX right now. You can get the carry from Doinb, you can get the carry from Nuguri, but you get plays like this from LWX, and they just speak volumes to everyone on FPX having the opportunity to take this game to a new level.
So excited to watch this team through the rest of the split, Dagda, how well they're performing. And again, we highlighted it, the next match of the week, there is no doubt in anyone's mind what it is. No. FPX EDG is on the final Sunday of the LPL regular season. That one is a doozy. I mean, there's no better series this split.
I'm like a kid at Christmas. Like, yeah. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see that matchup. And as you said, it looks like it'll very much decide our top spot, because we've got FPX now, who I believe, have just got V5 left to play before they meet EDG, and an expected win, we'll say, for FPX in that one. I don't think anyone's going to disagree with that. So certainly you'll end up with EDG versus FPX potentially being our contender for that top pay spot.
Wow,
And I think that's going to be a phenomenal way to round out what has been an incredibly close and incredibly exciting summer split.
It has. I mean, even if, look, let's say LNG EDG goes backwards for EDG, let's just remember that at the end of the day, that's going to be a good series no matter what. FPX versus EDG, we're looking at our top 2 teams at the moment and how they're going to be running into playoffs. First 4 seeds have had advantages before. Now, we haven't confirmed playoffs. We will be talking more about the format, I'm sure, running into the next week as soon as we get that all confirmed. But I'm just so amazed at what I've just watched because FPX have shown us the limits to their compositions are not really there, right? You know, we've seen scaling, we've seen fast-paced comps, we've seen so much from FPX. There really is no limitation.
But the thing is, like, especially, I think the reason we're saying this so much is because of Doinb, right?
Yep.
Doinb's been able to change entirely what his champion pool is. We've seen things like this Kled coming in. We've seen other things like the Akali coming through. Now we're getting the Orianas that look great, Viegos, Lee Sins. Everything is looking phenomenal. And it's why FPX are the powerhouse that they are right now.
Why the Phoenix will fly. Lwx standing by, though, with Wendy. Not something we normally get. Again, this split we've been getting the MVP. So 2-time MVP on the English broadcast.